Hi, this is John Zorn, bringing you an hour of music from the Tzadik label. Tzadik is a label I started about 3 years ago to bring forward a worldwide community of contemporary musician composers, bring their music to light. It's music that major labels have pretty much ignored. And it was breaking my heart that these great musicians were unable to get their music out there. So Tzadik was created pretty much to service a community that's been ignored. And I'd like to introduce some of the music that we've been featuring on our label in the past few years. We've got about 100 releases at this point, and we'll try to feature maybe 20 and really maximize the amount of music we can bring to you. The first thing we want to play is from Eyvind Kang, who is, I think, one of the most exciting musicians today in the downtown scene. He's worked with the Sun City Girls in Seattle, with Bill Frisell, with Arlo Lindsay, and Nana Vasconcelos. As we speak, he's probably somewhere in India, sitting on the floor studying with some Indian violin master. But this CD was created 2 years ago. It's called Seven Nades, and the track we'll be hearing is called Inevitability, The Engagement. We'll follow it up with a track from the great klezmer rock band KLEKTA, led by Leonid Soibelman, and then a track by MAMORU FUJIEDA, a wonderful Japanese composer, and I'll tell you more about the two of them a little bit later. But first, this track from Eyvind Kang, his personal take on male-female. began that set with some music from Mr. Eyvind Kang, a great violinist. Continued with the punk rock klezmer group KLEKTA Red, Leonid Soibelman, guitarist and composer. And it's very rare that you get a tape in the mail and then decide to release it. But that's how this CD came about. He just sent me his music, and I dug it, and now it's on Tzadik. The other thing we heard was from MAMORU FUJIEDA, who's an old friend of mine from Japan. I've known him about 12 years. A really incredible computer genius, and got a wonderful sense of sound and orchestration. And we heard from his CD Patterns of Plants, which is an interesting record that derived all of its musical information from plants. Go figure it out. He took all the data that created these compositions were taken from a plantron, which is this strange computer program developed by a botanist named Yuji Dogane. And we heard a beautiful track from the from the first collection of Patterns of Plants. It was pattern number 2. We're going to go on with a classic Tzadik favorite from the Rod Keith record, I Died Today. We're going to continue with Do the Pig on the Tzadik Radio Hour. This is John Zorn.
Come on, baby, come on and do the pig. Yeah, come on, baby, the pig you really dig. You put your hands on your hips and let your backbone shake. Come on, do the pig. You say it's really great. Come on, everybody. Come on, do the pig. Come on, everybody. It's really going big. You put your hands on your hips and let your backbone shake. Do the pig. Oh, the wiggly pig. Oh, yeah. Come on, baby. Do the wiggly pig. Come on, girl. It's all big. Do the wiggly pig. Yeah. Oh, come on, baby. Come on and do the pig. Come on, baby. The pig you really dig. You put your hands on your hips and let your backbone shake. Come on, yeah, and do the pig. It's great. Come on, everybody. Come on and do the pig. Come on, everybody. It's really going big. You put your hands on your hips and let your backbone shake. Do the pig, yeah, pig, the wiggly pig. Woo! Do the pig, oh, the wiggly pig, oh, the wiggly pig, oh, the wiggly pig, oh, yeah, 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 the wiggly pig, oh,
a wonderful moody track by Ikewemori from her soundtrack CD, B-Side, which contains a series of film soundtracks she did for the cinema of Abigail Child. That track was called Dream. Ikewe is one of the most interesting musicians for me working in New York today. She uses drum machines and samplers, has created an incredibly personal language using these instruments, and is also a wonderful composer. She's got 3 records on Tzadik at this point. One, Hex Kitchen, is on the Japan series, and this B-Side is on the soundtrack series, and she also has a fantastic solo CD on the composer series called Garden that for me is one of the greatest CDs of electronic music available today, as good as Yanis Xenakis was in the 60s. Before that, we heard Anthony Coleman, the great mad genius who lives across the hall from me. And this track was called Belz, Mein Städtele Belz, a wonderful Jewish standard played by the Sephardic Tinge, which is his tribute to piano trios with Greg Cohen and Joey Barron playing bass and drums. This is a wonderful CD, and Anthony also has a variety of CDs on Tzadik. The Self-Haters is another project of his, as is his duo with Roy Nathanson. We started this set off with the wild concepts of Rod Keith, Ellery Eskelin's father. Ellery is a fantastic tenor player, works with Kenny Wollesen, Mark Rebo, Joey Barron, and Barron Down. And the track we heard was Do the Pig. And in way of explanation, I should say that Ellery's father made a living by writing music and recording little 45 singles for aspiring songwriters around the country. He'd put an ad in a magazine, be a songwriter. People would take a bite at the hook, send him $100 or something and their lyrics, and he would actually record and press a 45 of their wonderful single. I doubt any of these hit the top 10 or the top 1,000, but here they are for you on Tzadik. I Died Today. It's a fantastic CD, the music of Rod Keith. This is John Zorn giving you a potpourri of music from the Tzadik label. We'll continue with Steve Beresford. This is on the soundtrack series that has turned out to be, for me, one of the most exciting of the series on Tzadik. This track is called Starfish. was Brooklyn's master of musical mayhem, Mr. Ken Butler, performing on hybrid instruments of his own creation. Ken is a manic visual artist who has been creating musical instruments for the past 15 years. Some of them are in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And what he does is take normal household objects like golf clubs, snow shovels, hammers, knives, hockey sticks, umbrellas, strings them, tunes them, and performs on them. And we heard a track called Stuck Behind a Truck that featured him on the hockey golf stick, along with two really wonderful musicians, Stomo Takeishi on bass and Seido Salafasky on the doumbek. Before that, we heard from normally a drummer, Mr. Yoshida Tatsuya, in his all-vocal group Zubizawa. This CD, Jehovah, came out about a year ago, and it's all vocal. Very unusual, interesting CD from Yoshida, who usually plays with the really popular rock band, The Ruins. And we started that set off with Steve Beresford, again, who's, for me, really one of the most important composers, vocalists in Britain. And we heard a track called Starfish that featured the slide guitar of the great Mike Cooper. This is John Zorn bringing you some of the unusual music on the Tzadik label. We're going to continue with a track from Austrian-born vocalist and composer named Giesborg. And this is her second CD on the Tzadik label, Shadows in the Sea. The track we'll begin with is The Woman is Perfected.
The woman is perfected. Where the body wears the smile of accomplishment, the illusion of a Greek necessity. Those in this was a
with peace in his heart. With peace in his heart. With peace in with peace in his heart. With peace in his heart. With peace in his heart. With peace in his with peace with ease in his with peace in peace with peace with peace in his heart, with peace. Protect the lives of with peace in his heart. With peace in his with peace, with peace, with peace, with peace, with peace, with peace, with peace in with peace in his heart, protect the lives in his heart, protect the lives, peace in his heart, protect the lives of, protect the lives of, protect the lives of, protect the lives of, protect the lives, 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 the lives of the lives of the lives, with peace in his heart, with peace in his, with peace in his heart, with peace. Raped to legitimate government of
Nana Vasconcelos, the world's foremost Brazilian percussionist, performing along with his good friend Ciro Batista, who's also my good friend, who appears on many of my Filmwork CDs and did a wonderful CD of his own on Avant called Villa Locos, performing the music of Heitor Villa-Lobos. This track was called Forró para Antero. It's on the soundtrack series, which again has really surprised me in just the variety of music that's out there for film. Very often you don't get to hear it because, well, Hollywood kind of has a straighter notion of what they want to put on their blockbuster films. But the soundtrack series on Tzadik really features some unusual musicians doing some wonderful, surprising music. So if you get a chance, go on down to your local record store and demand that they stock Tzadik records. That's Tzadik, spelled Tzadik, like the Hebrew letter that it's named after. Before Nana Vasconcelos, we heard Alvin Curran, who is a member of Musica Electronica Viva from the early 70s. He's been around for 30-odd years, really showing us some new sounds and taking us to some adventurous places. That was an excerpt from a piece called Animal Behavior that contained samples from the Bush administration, train robberies in the Middle East, Looney Tunes, elks, bugling, etc., etc. Animal Behavior, fantastic CD. Before that, we heard from a Boston klezmer jazz group called Naftali's Dream. Their first CD is Search for the Golden Dreidel, and this was another project that I just got in the mail. I heard the CD, loved it, talked to them on the phone, and we released the record. The track we heard was So New, composed by David Harris, and this band really combines Jewish tradition and jazz music, and they do it in a very original way. They make a small group of 5 or 6 players sound like a full orchestra. I'm really, really excited at the development of this band, Naftali's Dream. We started the set off with Giesborg performing her composition, The Woman is Perfected, from The Shadows in the Sea. This is John Zorn presenting music on the Tzadik label, a label that was started about 3 years ago. It's artist run and profit sharing, and we've put out about 100 or so CDs by this point. We'll move on to a CD on the New Japan series. Now, I spent about 10 or so years living off and on in Japan, 6 months out of each year, and had the privilege to work with a lot of great musicians. One of the most exciting sax players that I worked with, Shinoda Masami, unfortunately died a few years ago of a heart problem. And this CD is a live performance from a variety of venues in Japan, his band Compostela, that features Nakao Kanji, also on soprano sax, and the great Sekijima Takero on tuba. This piece, written by Shinoda, is called View in a Box. This is the music of Yuji Takahashi, great Japanese composer, pianist, worked with Xenakis in the 60s. Done a variety of incredible things, including this beautiful piece, Mimi no Ho, for sho, mouth organ, viola. You've been listening to an hour of music on the Tzadik label. My name is John Zorn. Before Yuji Takahashi, we heard Makigami Koichi, Kuchi no Ha, a solo vocal record on the New Japan series, and we started off with Compostela, the album Wadachi. So what we've heard, I guess, in the last 10 minutes or so is mostly music from Japan. The Tzadik label is divided into several series. One is dedicated to Japanese music, one is dedicated to Jewish music, one is dedicated to composers, classical, and what have you. There's a film series, and then there's an archival series. And if you like what you've heard, go on down to the store and ask for Tzadik, Tzadik. It's an artist-run, profit-sharing label. It's been around for about 3 years. We have 100 releases. And we hope you enjoyed what we've been playing you. So this last track we'll be listening to is one of my own. It's called Eitan. It's on the Circle Maker, which is a 2-CD set featuring some of the music that I wrote originally for the MASADA band, reorchestrated for a string group with Mark Rebo, Greg Cohen, Joey Barron, Ciro Batista, Mark Feldman, Eric Friedlander. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon. You can visit us on the Tzadik website at www.tzadik.com.